there is your game in a nutshell. Early on, the Hawks just took care of business, made it so the Blazers could not get it going, and just took it to them. Absolutely took it to them. I don't know what you do in that situation except just watch the Atlanta Hawks ship sail away. It was a lackluster performance, to say the least, from your Trailblazers, and I really wish I could kind of pinpoint it and tell you why it all happened, but the skinny of it, it just felt like the Blazers team just wasn't ready to go. Back-to-back, quick turnaround, get a morning game to a midday game in your time zone. Just none of it sat well for your Trailblazers as they fall to Atlanta in grand fashion tonight, 135-101. Welcome into the fifth quarter. I am your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you would like to join the conversation with us today, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And of course, you can hit us up with the text line 88528 or go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio and join the chat there as well. Just a rough one. Absolutely a rough one. The way this thing started, as we mentioned, it was just right out of the gate. The Blazers could not play defense. The Hawks couldn't be stopped. They shot 65% in the first quarter, and before you know it, it was a big lead, a big deficit for your Trailblazers, and they just couldn't come back. They lacked the firepower to get back into it. And as I said, it's just a rough night. Like, sometimes you struggle, and then sometimes you sit there and you struggle, and not only do you find it hard to get back into the game, you just find it hard to just play a good game at all. And I thought that's what the Blazers did in this one. I thought on the broadcast, Lamar Hurd and Kevin Calabro kind of hit the nail on the head when they were talking about this game. Like, just felt like it didn't have those big moments. There was nothing, no lob, no block off the glass, no big play that kind of energized the team a little bit. And the team just felt like they were an iPhone that was sitting there at 10% and was like, please take the charger, plug me in, because I need energy. I need something. They just didn't have it. And just going through the motions, and that's not going to get you wins. And the frustrating part is the way this all was planned out. I mean, you had a game against the Hawks, you had a game against the Hornets, you had games you would looked at this and you're like, you should win these games. And to not only not win them, but just to feel and look just out of sorts, to look so uninterested against teams that you could have and should have beat, that's definitely frustrating. And on the back of that, against Charlotte, it was like the defense struggled to get stops, and it's a big beatdown. Not as big as it was tonight, but again tonight, the defense is the calling card. Defense, and then defense struggles to get stops. That is frustrating as all can be. In this one, one of our texters says, let's trade Drew for CJ next year. Hey, CJ is a bucket. He knows what's going on. I'm with you, Chris. He slows it down too much. Yeah. Well, thank you. It's just, I don't know what was going on. I have praised Drew. We talked about this. I've praised Drew for his ability to slow down when the team needs to slow down. But then now when the team doesn't need to slow down, he slows it down even more. I think there's a fine balance there, my friend, right? Like, just frustrating, because this was a game I really had on the calendar as one that they should have won. But Atlanta, credit to them. They played a good game and did what they needed to do. Sometimes, we talked about in the pregame show, the growing pains when you're playing play-in teams and you yourself are a play-in team. You're going to have these moments. Tonight was one of them. Let's take a look at the box score. It's time for the Rip City recap. All right, we can look at this game and look at the box score, and it was ugly, but it definitely, had some moments, at least early, when the score was 0-0. You felt like you had a chance. When Holiday hit early threes, he started the game off hot. Boom, he hits this.
Grant on the baseline, stripped out of his hand, saves it to the corner for a wide-open Holiday. Has time to bounce, shoot, and hits it. So the Blazers a much better start from 3 today than yesterday, as they were 0 for 14 to begin the game from beyond the arc Saturday morning.
And there you hear Travis right there. A much better start today than last game. And that was in the early minutes because Jrue Holiday did it again.
Holiday at the wing. He puts up a contested 3 this time, and that's good. 3 straight threes for the Trailblazers. They've scored 8 in a row and have a 13-10 lead. Now
from there, it did start to get ugly. It started to get ugly at one point. The Hawks went on a 13-1 run to make it 23-14. From that point, they went on another massive run. It was 14-5, and that's the highlight you heard at the beginning of the show. A bit quick bucket, a steal, and another quick bucket. Kuminga had a game, and by the time the first quarter was over, it was 44-25 in favor of Atlanta. That was it. Because from that point on, the Blazers could not mount the offense to get back into the game. They tried, but they could not mount the offense. Funny part is this game was almost the opposite of the first time they matched up, where in the fourth quarter, the Blazers just absolutely slammed the door on Atlanta. They flipped the script in this one. They outscored the Blazers 32-16 in the fourth quarter to run away to a 135-101 victory. The keys to the game: we talked about rebounding. That's how they won the first one. They beat Atlanta on the boards. Tonight, Portland was out-rebounded 54-38. That was a massive reason they won. We talked about points off turnovers and fast break points. Those were 2 categories that Portland won the first time they matched up. Tonight, points off turnovers 30-18 in favor of Atlanta, and those fast break points 24-10 in favor of Atlanta. Second chance points 12-6 in favor of Atlanta. Looking at the individual box scores for the Hawks, Jalen Johnson played 30 minutes. He had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Dyson Daniels, 12 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Okongwu had a heck of a game. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Very efficient, 9 of 15. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Trailblazers legend, 15 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. CJ McCollum, Trailblazers legend, 19 points. And Zachariah Rishashir, 5 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist. Jonathan Kuminga, though, he has found a home. 3 games in now, another solid performance with the Hawks. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He was 7 of 10 from the floor, including an absolutely beautiful windmill jam. On the Trailblazers side of things, Chris Murray had 0 points. He played just 4 minutes and 20 seconds before leaving with an illness. He did not return. Toumani Camara had 9 points. He was 3 of 10 from the floor. 15 points and 15 rebounds from Donovan Clingan. And we talked about that in the pregame show, that without Robert Williams, you'd have to have some other people help pick up that rebounding deficit, because he's so good there, and you really needed to key in on the rebounds in this game. To only have 9 offensive rebounds as a team is a pretty low number for this Trailblazers team, and then to be out rebounded by almost 20. They got hurt. They got hurt on the glass. Donovan Clingan did his part, though, a 15 and 15 double-double. Jrue Holiday, 23 points, 4 assists, 6 boards, 4 points for Jeremy Grant, who has just 1 of 9 from the floor. Vit Krejci, 14 points, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 4 of 5 from the floor in his return to Atlanta. Scoot Henderson, 11 points, 3 assists. He was 3 of 9 from the floor. And we talked about him in the pregame show as well. I'm still confident that Scoot Henderson will be fine, but this game, it just felt off. He just felt off. Every single 3 he took just looked odd. Nothing was really going the way you would think it would go when it comes to actually having a chance at hitting the rim. I mean, some of those shots he took were just off the glass, didn't even touch rim. They were not good shots. I would hope that he gets those out of his system, because he's so much better than that. Blake Wesley had 12 points off the bench. Sidi Sissoko had 6. Matisse Thybulle had 7. Young Hansen and Javonte Cook did not score. There you go. Biggest lead for Atlanta was when they led by 34 points, 133-99. Biggest lead for Portland was when they led by 3, 13-10, out the Jrue Holiday 3 that we played earlier. They started off, boom, boom, couple 3 straight threes. Jrue hit a 3, Grant hit a 3, Jrue hit another 3. They were up 13-10, and then the wheels, they came a falling off. Just a rough night. an absolute rough night. And I don't know what it is. Maybe because he is an all-star, Denny Avdia really, truly is this important to this team. He very well might be. He's been really, really good this year. But without him and without Shaedon Sharpe, who's been one of your best scorers all year long, yeah, you're struggling. Shaedon Sharpe is your number 2 scorer. He takes the most field goal attempts on the team, makes the most field goal attempts. Denny is your leading scorer. He gets to the rim and gets those free throw shots. But you're missing those 2 guys and the rest of those guys that you are playing right now. Like, yeah, you're trying to get Scoot Henderson acclimated, but Scoot Henderson is, just returned after missing months, and everybody else. Like, it's a struggle, an absolute struggle. Taking a look at the text messages here. We do get Scoot Henderson stinks in capital letters. I do not agree with that. I do think this game was awful. They absolutely awful. Blazers need more 3-pointers from Veit, but I don't see plays that the head coach has in the game plan that get him the ball enough. Veit will be fine. Veit will be fine. 2 of 3 from beyond the arc today. He's still finding his own. Once you get everybody acclimated and everybody going, I still think Veit's going to be fine. There's still pieces that this team needs to build, obviously. This one just sucks because these were 2 games I really thought they should have won. It's easy to pinpoint Scoot having a bad game or wanting to get more out of Veit, but Veit is what he is. He's a bench scorer, and he's going to be absolutely fine. Again, Scoot Henderson, he started off looking pretty good. It's just a struggle with him sometimes. I just don't know what it is. And another texter, looks like the whole team got sick like Donovan did. Yeah, whatever Donovan got, gave it to everyone. He missed a game because of an illness. Chris Murray's out. City was questionable. That's right. And no way you watch the game and think Donovan Clingan played well. Well, I did watch the game, and I said that Donovan Clingan had a 15-point, 15-rebound double-double, did his part on the glass when they needed him to, which is exactly what you wanted from him. Like, what more do you want from Donovan Clingan in that aspect? He didn't shoot the ball super effectively, yes, but the team as a whole was meh. I mean, Jeremy Grant comes in, and he's in that lineup is one of your best scorers, quite honestly, and he had 4 points. Okay, but in a game when you needed to absolutely try to win the rebound battle, and a guy who doesn't score a ton of points goes out there and gets you a 15-point, 15-rebound double-double, he did his part. This game, we can talk about this game all night long, which is what we're doing right now. This game was not lost because of Donovan Clingan. Let's just get that one out of here. So, yeah, I watched this game just like we all did. That's my job. But I'm not putting this game on Donovan Clingan. Could Donovan Clingan have been better offensively? Sure. We could knock that every single night. This guy could have been better offensively. This guy could have been more efficient. I would have liked this guy to hit more threes. But I'm not watching this game and saying, oh, Donovan Clingan played terribly. That's just a non-starter for me. Taking a look at the chat, the Orb, easiest schedule in the NBA. My sweet sore behind. Yeah, about that. We talked about take advantage of it. They need to. That's exactly what we've talked about, Orb, and that's why this one I think stings just a little bit, because these were games they could have and should have won, and they just looked lethargic through both of them. That's kind of inexcusable. Sean says there isn't any identity with this team right now. They haven't had a great offense all year, and the defense identity from last year seems gone. They have good defensive players, but can't get stops. There was just weird plays today, too. I mean, there was a fast break where Blake Wesley, who's supposed to be the defensive guy, knows what he's doing, just gets lost, and next thing you know, boop, it's an easy Kuminga dunk. Like, yeah, I don't know. The identity is right now. If you're pointing an identity for this team, the identity is tired. Like, I'm labeling a team tired right now. I don't know. Tired of losing. Tired of being on the court. It's just rough. We have talked about it. The Orb chimes in. Easiest schedule down the stretch. We have hammered that drum non-stop because it's true. They should be winning these games. They should be winning these games. Or at the very least, these games, both against Atlanta and Charlotte, should have been competitive. Should have felt like there was some sort of competence there. That game against Charlotte was not the blowout that it was here against Atlanta, but in that game, you just never felt like the Blazers had the firepower to really get over the hump and win that game. And in this game, same thing. You just never felt like they had the firepower to ever mount a comeback. The best thing they can do right now is trade buckets and hope the other team misses. But when the other team comes out of the gate and shoots 65% in the first quarter and has a 20-point lead, it's a rough one the rest of the way. It's a rough one the rest of the way. And yes, my texture is hammering home how bad Donovan Clingan was. Atlanta centers had 25-10 and 14-5. Okay, I get that. I absolutely get that. Donovan Clingan was the only center out there for the Blazers because Young Hansen is not playing and Robert Williams was hurt. And we have seen Donovan Clingan multiple times give up big games to other centers when the other teams are out there pushing tempo and moving fast because it's not his strength. That's what Atlanta was doing tonight. 24 fast break points to the 10 of Portland. 66 points in the paint. But again, if you're watching that and you think Donovan Clingan was the reason they lost tonight, I got nothing for you. Do I wish he were better against guys like Okongwu? Absolutely. But then there is coaching things there that you need to fix or move your lineups around when you're playing against a stretch 5 who goes out there and shoots 7 of 12 from beyond the arc. Donovan Clingan, that is his job, is to stay in the paint. Coach has talked about that. That is where he is the best defensively, without a doubt. You put him out on the arc, of course he's going to get torched. We've seen that play over and over and over again. We know what happens when you get stretch bigs. Donovan Clingan is not a defensive big outside of the paint. His job is to defend and affect shots inside. When you put him out, the lateral quickness is not there. The ability to close space is not there. He struggles. That's absolutely true. I'll give you that much. But again, there are schematic things you can do to build and make up for those inefficiencies, and that wasn't there. Okay, the Blazers were down 19 before. I'm done with this argument. Thinking Donovan Clingan was absolute trash and they lost the game because of him is crazy. It's crazy. What are you gonna do? Like, I want him to play better defensively against guys who shoot the ball well from beyond their arc. We've seen that story so many times. We know what he is there. You need to put pieces around him in those cases to help mask that, or at least find a way to put him in the paint, have someone else out there. You just didn't have those guys tonight. Robert Williams would have helped you a little bit because he can defend that better than Donovan Clingan has, but he's been burned. I've talked a couple times about how that's what I really liked about Zach Collins as a center. And granted, he's dealt with injuries too and struggled to stay on the court. But one thing I loved about him is his ability to get from the paint to the arc and defend it. All the other parts about his game we want to pick apart, we can do that. But those things were good. Donovan Clingan just doesn't have that. He's also in his first year as a true starter, second year in the league, and he's getting better. He'll be fine. He's been good. He's probably won them more games than he's definitely lost them. This game was on everybody, though. I don't know why hammering the Donovan Clingan drum makes the most sense, because I just don't believe that to be the case. Do you want more from him? Sure, we do. We all do. But he wasn't the reason they lost this game. Wasn't the reason. Sean says, let's see. Got multiple comments here, but what benefit will they get if they make it to the playoffs and get blown out in 4 games in a row? Sean, the benefit is playing those games. The playoffs are different. Whole different animal. I think any team who gets to the playoffs benefits from that, even if you get swept. Any team will. Better than coming into it with you got the 12th best odds of getting the number 1 pick or whatever. Playoffs matter. Completely different ballgame. I think there's benefit in getting there. You know, one thing we talk about all the time, Sean, and by we, the collective we, the talking heads. Oh, this team has playoff experience. That's your benefit, is playoff experience. That's where we'll see. But they got to be better right now. Otherwise, they're the idea of making it to the playoffs is done. Because they're not getting through the play-in playing like this. Got to figure it out. I get that Denny has been incredible. He's been the engine for this team. But you got to figure out a way to still get this thing going when he's out. Like we talked in the pregame show. You may have players out. You may not be the Ferrari version of yourself. You're the Ford Taurus version. An old Honda Civic, 250,000 miles on it. But it can still get you from point A to point B if you don't try to drive it like a Ferrari. You just got to know what pieces you have, know what car you have, and then don't push it past its limits. You can still get there. Don't know if the analogy works, but I definitely understand my audience. I know you guys get what I'm laying down. Struggle. Terrible, terrible performance. Terrible game. Rinse it off, go to the next, because that's all you can do, my friends. That's all you can do. We're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we're going to take a look around the NBA, take a look at some scores. We'll hear from Coach here in a little bit. I'll go through the text line. Hear some more about Donovan Clingan. Continue to defend my big man. I appreciate those texts, by the way, though, because you're not wrong. I'll tell you this. One thing I've always said, you never tell a fan how to fan, and if you're mad, you're mad. You don't like it, you don't like it. But as that same texter just said, this team should be angry about the type of blowout, but they're not, which is a big problem. And that, my friend, you're not wrong. Because if I were playing, this is the type of game that would send me back to the locker room absolutely PO'd. I would be mad. The type of mad that, like, I go home angry. Like, what's wrong, babe? Bad day at the office? I'm going to bed. I need to go to bed, sleep this one off, and wake back up in the morning and try again, because, yeah, that sucked. And sometimes, Coach has talked about it, you just need to get punched in the mouth. Well, this team just got punched in the mouth twice. It's about time we punch back. This is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. We'll continue with plenty more after the break here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. We got to start with Driver of the Night. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. And we want to put him in that text thread. Yep. And let me see what I got for a drive. Do I have a drive?
Kamara drives and attacks. It's a Grant to the corner for Scoot. Jab step on Daniels, trips. Now maintains his balance. Baseline jumper is good. 9 straight for the Blazers. Rebound tapped by Clingan into the hands of Wesley. Throws it ahead to Thibault on the near side. Looks for a cutting Wesley. Tracks it down to the baseline. Now he's got it in the corner. Stripped out of his hands. Gets it back. Reverses it in. That's a terrific play by Blake Wesley. It's a 17-point game.
Yeah, we'll play. Yeah. First. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking for a charger here because my darn computer wants to die. Oh, he's here. What's up? That is so bad, dude. So bad. Hey, look at YouTube listening to me produce. How you guys like that? What's that? It was. Oh no, come on. Come on, come on. I got too many cords, guys. There we go. There you go, YouTube. I got way too many cords. Now you guys can hear me. I was producing for you. Chad's on the line. He's going to join us in a second. That'll be fun. But I didn't get my charger in time and my computer died. Go team. Go team. What's Sean say? If they're tired now, they will only be more tired come playoff time. They will. They will. Be exhausted. That's fine. Just play better. That's all you got to do. All right, I got to fix my computer. We'll be right back.
Thought that was the worst defensive performance of the year, and it followed that horrific offensive performance we saw yesterday in Charlotte. But I think it was Coach Splitter a couple of games ago talked about some of the issues they had communication-wise on some of the coverages against Minnesota. But they just showed no resistance tonight, and the Hawks were able to get to their spots. They had whatever they wanted, and it followed that.
That's me. Don't worry. Sorry, I confused you. You're good.
Yeah. Well, anytime I'm talking and all of a sudden I start hearing my own voice in my ear, that's a problem. But, it's only fitting based on how the game played out today. But, yeah, just the intensity wasn't there. The defense was a no-show and just a really disappointing performance. And what's really frustrating is that going into the road trip, it looked like an opportunity with 4 of the 5 games they had on the schedule, teams with losing records. And now, after 3 games, it's like, oh, my goodness, I just hope they can get Memphis and make it 2 wins on the road trip.
Yeah, you got to do something. I think that's the frustrating part for me. Like you said, the defense's performance was bad, but I mean, these were games that I put on the calendar as probable wins. I mean, they're playing teams that are essentially the version of them, but in the Eastern Conference. And I felt like both games, it just felt like they never really had a chance. The Charlotte game, it felt like they just didn't have the oomph, if you will, to get over the hump. And then in this one, the minute it became a 25-point game, you're like, they don't have the oomph either to get back into it. And that was just weird. It just felt off for both those games.
Yeah, it really did. I think here's the big picture view. And I've been talking about Denny and his importance all year and how he's a superstar player. He's budding into that. They need him badly because when he's not on the floor, they lose a part of their identity. He makes the game easier for his teammates with his ability to create open shots. He gets to the foul line. He brings a certain downhill mentality, which is important, and he's able to really help out defensively. And without Shaedon Sharpe, they don't have that other guy who can really create on his own. And the other issue over the last couple of games is you've seen Scoot take a step back where he struggled with turnovers. He has not shot the ball well and has really been kind of a non-factor. But I think it's good to have these type of moments because it helps you realize how important guys like Shaedon and Denny Avdia are to their attack and what those guys can do.
No, absolutely. And I mean, the Blazers, when you lose Denny, and anytime you lose your leading scorer, it's rough. And then with Shaedon Sharpe, I mean, he's the leading field goal attempts on this team, which means he's involved. He's a big part of what they do offensively. Losing both those guys is massive. But I do think what's a little more worrisome for me, Chad, is I get it. You don't have the guy who's had the keys to the Ferrari all year long, but you mentioned it being one of their worst defensive performances, and I felt like it wasn't great against Charlotte either. Like that to me is a little worrisome because you have Blake Wesley, who is supposed to be your defensive guy. You have Matisse Thybulle, who's obviously a defensive guy. Still Tumani out there who's healthy, and to take a step back on that end just feels like a not good situation for me.
Yeah, I agree. Think about the guys that they've got out there. Klingon, obviously a very good rim protector. Drew Holiday is known as a defensive guy. Jeremy Grant is not a poor defender. Matisse Thybulle, as you mentioned, Tumani Kamara. Like, they've got guys who can defend, and yet today they just showed, very little resistance. Atlanta was able to get open looks from downtown. They were 10 of 19 from three in the first half, and they had a lot of easy buckets in the painted area. So, and then on top of that, and then this is the problem with a team like the Blazers, 30 points off of turnovers that they gave up. And, and turnovers have been one of their biggest problems all season long. But when you're the Blazers and you're not, you don't have a roster that's littered with superstar talent, they have to be able to do well in the margins to be competitive and win games. And when they don't perform defensively and they give up 30 points off turnovers, you're going to have days like this. They're just not good enough to not win those little battles. And yesterday and today, the turnovers, once again, a big issue for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple of our texters, Chad, one of them, and this has been a topic of conversation over the last few games, but I don't know how they do it or what they would do just because the way the roster is, but I think you're seeing a little bit of this team maybe missing Caleb Love just a little bit, someone who could come in and give you a little bit of a spark, a little bit of energy, and was clearly someone who could score. I definitely feel like they're missing that.
Yeah, absolutely. They just need, we see it yesterday and today, right? Where yesterday you basically had Grant and Holiday as the only guys who were making buckets. Today, Drew Holiday was able to once again have the shooting touch, but they just don't have enough guys who can make shots right now. Denny Avdia and, Shaedon Sharpe are two, primary creators who they can create for themselves as well. So, yeah, they need someone who can step up and make shots. They can't turn the ball over. Like, it's this has been troubling, but now you get a couple of days off. Maybe it'll give them a chance to get together as a group and talk about some of the details so they can come out and have a more sound performance against the Grizzlies because this weekend was fun.
Yeah. No, it was. One of our texters says, hey, I'm glad you don't gamble anymore, Chad, because your prediction of them, winning quite a few games after the break might not come true. They're going to have to go about 16-0 just to get to where you want them. And then they called me out for saying I thought they could win in Charlotte and Atlanta, teams on the road that are also trying to win. I just thought they could because I thought those are two teams that are also kind of like the Blazers. They're up and down. You can catch them on an off night. Unfortunately, they were both on when the Blazers were in town.
Yeah, bad timing. I think for me, Chris, I said I thought they were going to do really well over the final stretch after the All-Star break. I think for me the big thing was assuming health, right? Like this is not the same team without Denny Avdia. So it's just hard to They need him back. And I understand why they're trying to get him rested to get his back right, but they need Denny Avdia back to be a more legitimate threat because he's so vital to everything they do on both ends of the floor. So please, if I can donate my back, if there's any part of me that can be given to Denny to get him back on the floor, I'm in.
I would do that as well, except, I get back flare-ups now and then. He doesn't want my back, but you're right. They're missing Denny. I mean, it's easy to say that, but I mean, the guy was an all-star, Chad, and was one of the better players in the league that first half of the year. So yeah, they're missing him. That is for sure. All right. You know what? I'm going to let you get out of here, get back home. I appreciate you as always, my friend.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. This weekend can go to HE double hockey sticks.
Yes, it can. All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, there's the man, the myth, Chad Doing. You guys can catch him, obviously, on the Rip City Drive and on the Trailblazers audio network. He immediately follows me pregame, and he's right before me here postgame, and the text messages are lighting up. I did, that's a fair text to call me out, but I did. The reason I thought these are games that they could win, even though they're on the road. Charlotte is not the epitome of a home court advantage, and neither is Atlanta. And both of those teams are up and down teams. Atlanta has found something with Kuminga. They've traded pretty well at the deadline. Getting off Young seemed crazy at first, but obviously Kuminga's been great. Jock Landale's been great for them. He was good tonight. They got a good roster over there. Jalen Johnson's a great player. Dyson Daniels, they got good pieces. But again, they're up and down. And if Portland is playing up, they can get those games. Portland played terribly tonight. There's no two ways about it. It's just they played terrible. As Chad said, may have been their worst defensive performance of the year. They let Atlanta shoot 65% in the first quarter. That was bad. But Charlotte's been playing well too. But again, on the road, not the greatest, home court advantage, and a team that young and up and down. And I thought Portland might be able to take advantage of that. That's why I thought those games were winnable games. Like I said, I chalked them up to more like 50-50 games because they're very, very similar teams to Portland in the fact that when you are a play-in team, you're going to have growing pains. And Portland's going through a little stretch right now. Those two teams, they're on the up. They might find the bottom part of that growing pain in the next week or so. That's just how it goes. It's just unfortunate that I felt the Blazers just played lethargic for both those games. They need some energy, and they need it quickly. Sean jokes, though. Is Delano Banton available for a two-way deal? How did he play? Last we checked, was he playing with Dallas's two-way team or something? DB Hooper will forever be one of the best local legends to team nickname combos. That one's just phenomenal. All right, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. We'll head out to my friend in Vancouver, the man, the myth, the legend, Ken in Vancouver, on the fifth quarter once again. Ken, welcome in, my friend.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I second the motion on Chad with the 2 thumbs down on this weekend. The thing, though, about the two teams we play, Charlotte and Atlanta today, they got shooters. Chris. We have no shooters without Shea and Denny. We got no shooters. I mean, Drew is a pretty nice shooter. Grant has been a shooter, but for some reason, Grant's on this. I'm a good three-point shooter, but I'm going to pass up three-point shots to try to drive into the heart of the defense for a contested two, which has been very frustrating over this thing. And really looking back at the Chicago win, if we're not playing Chicago's silly pud gang, we're not winning that one. Now, we probably have at least 2 victories over the next 3 games because we play the silly puds in Memphis and the silly puds in the Pacers on Sunday. That's just being honest. I mean, they're silly putty guys. They're not the main guys. So Houston, we're playing their main guys. That could get ugly again unless Denny all of a sudden just somehow can play. But hopefully we get Denny back, next Tuesday, let's say a week from Tuesday, and going against the Hornets again, and we might have a chance. But people are two things that really frustrate me. People really kind of poo-pooing how good Shaedon Sharpe is. The dude's turning into a serious player. And also Caleb Love. I know a texter mentioned it. Thank God. Cronin's been really good with these moves and stuff, but he made a mistake by not signing Caleb Love. I like City as much as anybody, but he is basically defense, he's a perfect guy to come off the bench for, 15 minutes, kind of bring a spark. But Caleb Love was showing, hey, I'm a real ball player. I've got a little bit of that Dame Lillard in me that I can freaking score in droves. I can play D. I got fire in my britches. And they do not have an offensive spark right now off the bench, Chris.
Yeah, no, Ken, I think because they're lacking an offensive spark right now, just because those two injuries happened at just the worst time possible, I think it makes Caleb Love look more valuable because of that. But I think at the time, when you look at everything and you're going, okay, we're going to have Shea, we're going to have a healthy Blake Wesley, Matisse is coming back, Scoot's coming back, all the guards, and you got room for basically one of those two, City still made the most sense. I think right now, because of the injuries, you're really missing Caleb, and I don't think you're going to find a way to get him on. But he still does have a few of those two-way games available. Have him meet you in Memphis and let him go. You know what I mean? I think he's absolutely earned a spot. I just think getting who you're going to cut and all that stuff becomes a little more difficult. But you're definitely not wrong, Ken. He's been incredible, and that's why I brought him up with Chad, is because one thing he does, even if he's having a bad shooting night, I respect the heck out of Caleb Love. And it's kind of the same with City Sissoko. The whole thing that I've knocked home today about this team feeling lethargic, those two do not play with a lack of energy. I've never seen Caleb Love play a game where I felt that he was going through the motions. And that type of stuff is important, Ken.
Oh, hands down. My daughter and I have gone to more games this year than I've had my entire lifetime combined. I've always watched home, basically, or, you know what I mean? Or when I lived in Denver, I watched via League Pass every game. But Caleb does a lot of things people are not giving him credit for. He's a fantastic facilitator. He is very, very good at facilitating. I just see the full meal deal with him. I just like how aggressive, and he doesn't back down. He takes a challenge. He doesn't back into a shell like a turtle. He comes out and goes, okay, you punched me in the mouth. I want to go punch you now, buddy. And we missed that. And the thing is I do think Joe's going to sign him in the offseason. I know he's milking his game. It's obvious that's what's happening. But City is a good backup player going forward. Caleb, I think, can be a starter in this league, and I hope it's for the Blazers. And I think there's going to be some moves this offseason that might surprise some people. I want to keep Caleb going forward. To me, he's a real player. I mean, he's ready now. He doesn't need to be in the G League. There's guys on that Blazer bench right now who can be in the G League. Caleb should be with the show. And it's very frustrating, especially in games like these, which were, Oh, and can we stop with the, I appreciate Donovan. He is really, really, really progressing. He's clean calling some games, and some days he's Curious George. And today, yes, it says 15 and 15, but he was more Curious George today, essentially as a Pongu was dicing up from three than he was clean call. So when he becomes, maybe with the big one next year, he becomes clean Kong all the time. But right now, he has Curious George games. He has clean Kong games. I love, man. Go Blazers.
Oh, my gosh. All love to you as well, Ken. I assure you, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. The ability to pull a King Kong and Curious George, two absolutely famous, characters there, and pull them together to make sense and also make sense in your metaphor usage. I had to laugh because that was just well done. That was just well done. Curious George and Kling Kong. I get that. And you're in line with one of our texters who's been texting in and banging their drum, not happy with Donovan Klingen tonight. And I still contend I don't think he was the reason they lost, but you're absolutely spot on, as is our texter, is the ups and downs of Donovan Clingan. And I think part of that's just because, again, it's easy to forget with him because he's so big and he is an adult, right? That he is in his first year as a true starter in this league, a year removed from, he doesn't have the cardio and he's not good enough to do this and that, and he's playing behind people. But yeah, that's a good metaphor. I like it, as does our texter who's been on your side. Curious George. It's a good one. That's a good one. And I have been also beating home to our texter and to you who are on DC how I want more from DC. I give him the credit when he plays good, but when he gets against these bigs who can space the floor and bigs who are quick and athletic, he has been burned. You saw it against Jared Allen. You've seen it against Mark Williams with Phoenix. You saw it again tonight because Okongwu had a great game. And that is something he needs to fix. Absolutely. And hopefully as a coach, you can also put some guys out there who can defend those spots and help him out a little bit. You need him in the paint. That's where he's the best. When you get these other ones and that he struggles with, then you get those Curious George moments. And I'm absolutely loving the fact that you dropped that, because that made my day. That same texter, though, does remind us that DB Hooper signed with the Celtics. And then he hit free agency today, though, because his 10-day contract came up. So it was a 10-day. DB Hooper's chaos. He was chaotic all over the place in the most entertaining way possible. Like, DB Hooper, for like the talent level to the amount that people love him, does not match, and I love that it doesn't match. Like, that's just pure fandom in a nutshell in the best way possible. Shout out DB Hooper. All right, we will get to Coach's Corner and all that here in a little bit. We got to take a break, but before we do, we got to give you an update around the league. It's time for an NBA scoreboard report.
This NBA Scoreboard Report is brought to you by McCord's Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, "We make it easy." Check out their inventory now at vancouvertoyota.com.
All right, let's take a look around the league real quick. Couple games going on right now. 9 minutes left in the third. Celtics 68, the 76ers 58. 3 minutes left in the third in Dallas. The Thunder have a 73-60 lead over the Mavericks. The Pelicans trail by 13 points, 39-26 to the Clippers with just under a minute left in the first quarter. And those are your three games that are going on right now. Final scores from around the NBA. The Knicks 114, the Spurs 89, the Cavaliers 106, the Nets 102, the Bucks fall to the Bulls 120-97, the Timberwolves take down the Nuggets 117-108. Memphis grabs a win over the Indiana Pacers. Pacers currently worst team in the Eastern Conference. They will be welcomed to Portland next Sunday when Portland returns home. Final score in Orlando, the Pistons 106, the Magic 92. Of course, the game you all watched tonight, the Hawks 135, the Trailblazers 101. And the only other game left on the slate is just about to tip off. Lakers hosting the Sacramento Kings. That is the NBA Scoreboard Report, powered by McCord's Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, "We make it easy." Check out their inventory now at vancouvertoyota.com. We're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. And when we come back, we're going to hear from head coach Tiago Splitter, hand out a game ball, and get out of here and continue to talk ball. Send us your text. 88528 is the text line. Of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there as well. Plenty more talk coming up after the break here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, breaking down this 135-101 loss to the Hawks by your Portland Trailblazers. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can hit us up at the text line as well, 88528, or you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Now, our one texter, it's the only bad part about the text line is there's just nothing but phone numbers, but who was pounding the Donovan Clingan drum about him not playing well. We got a nice fun debate about it. Got a good laugh out of Ken dropping a Curious George reference. So just for you two, I pulled this one out of the archives, because if you paid attention to Courtside Monday and Rip City Drive last week, we were talking about cartoon theme songs we all grew up with. And just because of that reference, I got to play this.
You never do know what's around a bend. Big adventure, all brand new friend. When you're curious, I like Curious George. Swing with everything.
That's right. The Curious George theme song wasn't just a series of books. Some of us remember growing up with the cartoon show too. Curious George.
And meet friends like this just can't fit. I'm curious, and that's marvelous, and that's your reward. You never be old if you ask yourself, what is this? Like curious, I like curious George.
There you go. A little Curious George for you, since Ken did a good job cracking us all up. All right. We got to hear from head coach after this one. Took a little bit, but we got the audio. It is time to head to the Coach's Corner.
It's time for the Coach's Corner with Tiago Splitter on Fifth Quarter. Presented by Coors Light. Choose chill, Portland.
Well, Coach, what went wrong in that one, particularly in that first quarter?
I think, we had, of course, Rob didn't play tonight, and DC, we started with DC, got in a Congo, and he hit like 4 threes. We expected to go small against him early in the first quarter, but I think the energy was not there. Focus, energy. I think it was the first back-to-back that I felt like, our legs were heavy. Not to try to find an excuse here, but I think the players were trying. They just couldn't get to the spots, move, and Then DC had 3 quick fouls. We went small early. We couldn't stay in front of people. They got to the rim, and then we couldn't rebound the ball when we had that small lineup. So, and I think a little bit that was the game in the first quarter. I think then we fought for 2 quarters, second and third, and the fourth again we didn't have energy. So that pretty much was the game.
Obviously, 2 tough games back to back. You win the game versus the Bulls, and you played well, even though you didn't get the win versus the Timberwolves. Just in general, how would you say the team is playing right now?
We have guys coming back. We're still trying to find our game out there, the lineups and who play well with who. You have lineups that are more defensively. You have lineups that crash the boards better. You have lineups that are better offensively. So we still don't have like a balance. We gotta find it. And now Danny is probably coming back soon. So we gotta be ready to adjust and find great first and second units that are balanced. And can't wait to get to that. We need these 2 days to rest now, to practice, to get ready for the next game.
Is there anything in particular you feel like would be beneficial in terms of getting off to better starts right now?
I think our readiness got to be there. I talk about this every time. I thought that, like I said, we didn't have enough energy to play. Chris was kind of like ill. CD was ill. DC. So the energy was not there. They were fighting. They were trying. and they were pushing themselves, and getting IV before the game, and really trying to be there and fight for their team. But we couldn't find that energy.
There you hear from head coach Thiago Splitter, and yeah, the energy just wasn't there. That's something we talked about, and Okongwu had a great game, and they, he talked about maybe going small just because of DC's inability to get out there and guard those guys who can shoot, and maybe that plays into that one just a little bit. But I thought one thing he said that was the first back-to-back that he felt like that they actually had heavy legs, and I think that was apparent that this team was a little fatigued, a little tired. Back-to-backs can do that. I don't think it should be an excuse, but still, they did. The energy wasn't there. The energy wasn't there. You heard it from him. He's got to figure that one out, and then obviously you need more Kling Kong and less Curious George. That one's going to stick with me for a little bit. That was well played, Ken. Well played. Now, despite the tough game, we still have to hand out a game ball. Does someone deserve it? We shall see. Hit that intro, Shacker.
Game balls on fifth quarter, live from the Coors Light Studios. Coors Light, choose chill.
All right, looking at the box score, do we give the game ball to anybody? I don't know. I don't know if anyone quite actually deserved that one tonight. I do think Okongwu deserves it because he really turned the game on its head, especially in that first quarter, struggling to get the Blazers to play any semblance of defense. And you know what? That's brutal. That's brutal. Now, Drew Holiday did have a pretty good game, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of 6, 9 of 16 from the floor. Did have 4 turnovers, but that's going to happen when you're the point guard. So if there's a Blazer that deserves a game ball, it's absolutely Drew, and that's what Sean says in the YouTube chat as well. Also, part of me wants to say, hey, Veet, you went out there. You did your best. 14 points in front of your former home. Always fun to go play in front of your former fans. But I'm going to give the Blazers game ball to Drew, and if I was given one for the entire game, it would definitely go to Okongwu. All right, that's going to do it for the fifth quarter. Thanks to everybody for chiming in on the YouTube chats and on the text line to our Donovan Clingan. I'm just going to call him the Donovan Clingan hater tonight, even though that's not fair. It was definitely a fair analysis by DC, but I don't have a name to go with the text line. But thank you for all those texts. Makes for a good banter, man. I love this show. We don't have to agree on the topics, but we can have great conversation about it. That's what we need to do. And just a massive shout out to Ken. Ken deserves the game ball for the Curious George and Kling Kong reference. I thought that one was pretty good. Made me laugh. And sometimes after a rough game like this, that's all you can do is laugh and go on to the next. Speaking of the next, the Blazers will be back in action in just a few nights as they take on the Memphis Grizzlies. That one is coming up on Wednesday. Tip-off at 5 o'clock, meaning Blazers game day will start for you at 3 o'clock. Make sure you treat Brendan well. Make sure he's ready to go. He'll be filling in for me for that game and that game against Houston because I got some OSAA basketball championships I got to take care of. But hopefully for the Blazers, getting Monday and Tuesday off, a little bit of rest, figure this thing out, don't play with tired legs, and off to a better start in Memphis because they are going to need it. Once again, final score from Atlanta, the Hawks 135, the Blazers 101. Blazers will be playing the Grizzlies on Wednesday. Blazers game day starts your coverage at 3 o'clock. Until then, Rip City, thank you to everybody for listening and chiming in, sending us those texts and those comments, calling in. I love you all, win or lose. We'll talk to you on the next one.